Good day, my little teacups. Would you like to join me on an adventure? Today we face The Beginner's Guide, a game from the creator of the Stanley Parable. You may have noticed I played it in the last couple of days. Well, this was an intro to this. This game has been very, very kindly provided by David Anderson. Thank you so much, David. You are the best around, and nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Shall we begin? Let's begin the game. The end is never the end is never the end. Please make sure the audio is on. The audio is definitely on. However, it is slightly turned down, so I am not deafened. I've never played this before. Let's find out what awaits us in The Beginner's Guide.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Wreden. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person.
Okay.
And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
What?
So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Okay, so clearly, as with the Stanley Parable, this is a very narrative-driven game. I'm going to stay here for a moment just to stop our fellow from narrating over me. Firstly, yes, you've probably noticed different narrator. I don't know if that's the actual game's creator, or it's just someone posing as the game's creator. This is by the Stanley Parable person. Who knows? My next question is, if Coda never released these games, and only ever binned them after they were done, how do you have them? Oh! Whisper machine status. Evacuate immediately. What?
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Right then. I know that sound effect. Oh. That's a classic one.
You can click to fire the gun.
I didn't want to. No, I'll do a pacifist run. Yes, because everybody always wants me to do a pacifist run.
Security call reached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
Oh, it seems I'm going to have to fire. Is it coming through that door?
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere. But then clearly there are no enemies anywhere.
Really?
You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are.
What?
Rather than for what they're not.
Oh,
Enemy force
finally the
neutralized.
doors start to open.
Begin ship evacuation.
When do I get to the doors that I can make choices?
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Oh my god. Thank you, dude. Thank you for pointing that out. Also, I love how these windows do not reflect properly at all. And there's barely any sound for the count. Oh, I'm out of bullets. Okay then. Oh, hello. What do you think of this so far, audience? I'm curious. Oh no.
Apparently the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh. But no. I'm going back in.
Or, if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Oh. Fine then. If it's not going to annoy you, then I'm just going to go ahead with the game, aren't I? Honestly, you're no fun, Mr. Narrator. Bring back the other chap.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
No. Oh, I can't leave? Why can't I leave? No! Don't leave me stuck in here with this. No! Please. David Copperfield's kneecaps.
This
Okay.
is not a branching point, unfortunately. The only Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I suppose I just throw myself in again. This is a lovely animated beam, by the way. Ooh. What? Ooh. Glitchy, I like it.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system.
Nope.
Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
My apologies if you can hear my jaw clicking somewhat, audience. I'm snacking on a bag of nearby Balti peanuts. It's pretty much the first thing I've eaten in the last 2 days. Sorry. Thank you. I'm very hungry. Why can't I move? Oh, I can't.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
The past was behind her. I'm walking backwards to Christmas. This is a strange concept for a game. Would be excellent for a horror, though. Ooh, this would be lovely for a horror. What?
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Code is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
It becomes clearer. Ooh, when she stops and looks. Ooh. But the future is always behind her. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it? I guess I go back the other way then.
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Oh no. Wait. Hold on, this looks like the ending of the Stanley Parable if you just desaturate it a little bit. Alternatively, we have arrived on the set of Slender, ladies and gentlemen. You are now entering the Twilight Zone.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
I must say,
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I must say, I don't rather enjoy how I'm being pretty much told what the meanings of these games are. I hope more is left up to the audience later on. I do always believe in crediting one's audience with a modicum of intelligence. Also, I'm going to bouncy up the stairs. If you have a problem with this, you can take it up with my agent. Just kidding, I don't have an agent.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
No! Absolutely not. I'm going to go up here all the way slowly. I am not kidding, audience. Don't worry, I will actually cut it out. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? I need a wee. I'm hungry. Mom, are we there yet? 99 green bottles standing on the wall. But wait, what if I'm really the staircase? What if the staircase is life and I'm climbing up life to reach the goal at the end? Well, that went a bit philosophical for a second. I'm sorry, audience. It's like being on the world's slowest escalator. Almost, come on! Come on! Yes! We're at the top, audience! We're at the top! Almost there! It's like being a snail! We can do this! Believe in me! Okay, I'm going to stop sounding quite so constipated now. Don't tell me there's more. Okay, I really am going to press enter now. You play as a camera, filming an advertisement, walking around set, filming whatever you like. Press U to surrender.
A room that's warm,
a button you press
nice,
to stop chaos that doesn't
and
work.
Filled with little ideas for games.
You are the queen, dusting your jewelry while your kingdom is destroyed.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person. but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A game filled with chairs, except one chair is floating. Live on a boat. Taking orders from the captain. The captain is always... excuse me, I was reading that. Game! I always gotta interrupt my... Ready, set, fish. I'm fishing indoors, apparently. Okay, this looks like it's made out of the similar materials that our last room. Wood floor texture on the ceiling. Lovely.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
What? Turn handle, open door. That is not a puzzle. Ah! Oh.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
No.
We're gonna see it a lot.
Endless hallways of blackness? No. Oh well. Again, these 3 holes in the wall. Is that because it's just part of the texture, or does that mean something greater? This is a weird experience, I gotta say. I'm being entirely honest, audience. If you have an interpretation of what's going on here, please
So that seems to be it,
leave
right?
it in the comments. I have no
Walk
idea.
down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Dude, stop modding the game like that, really. I know I've got to press it, but... Okay, then. There's a lot more
How
to this
about that?
game than meets the eye.
There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Oh, we're back here again. Back at the part of Slender. Lovely. You are now exiting the Twilight Zone.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could
Nope.
even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Alternatively, he just felt like finishing off the first game. March 2009. I remember it well. The Great and Lovely Descent. Wait, was that called The Great and Lovely Descent? Because if it was, is that a reference to The Dark Descent? Since I don't actually believe for a second the code
Let's
is
talk
real.
about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
I'm totally listening, sir.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Lovely.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up
Is this
making.
a sink?
You
I
might
don't-
consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
What's up here? Why can I not go in here? What are you hiding from me, game? Aha! Oh. Aha! There is no door here. Lovely. Oh, hello. Appears we've arrived in somebody's platforming level from Octodad. Okay then. Oh. Or possibly the dream sequence from Lullaby from an Electric Toaster. Ah! Well, onwards we go, audience. This will work. Eventually, I'm climbing down sand bridges now, apparently. Boing. 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 I'll stop boinging now. Whoa, shit. Shit. Fuck. Oh. Oh, thank God I fell down. I was going to be there all day at that rate. Excuse me, there's no wall here. Oh, yes there is. Oh, yes there is. My mistake. Can I go? No. Fine. I will break this game eventually. White sand. What was that? What was that squeaky noise? I heard a squeaky noise. Pens? What? Stop that. This room is... This room is just foreboding. What the hell? No, let me out. I'm not going that way, fuck it. I can't go any other way. Oh, fine then.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go.
Ah.
If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Thank you.
This is something that you and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Right. Okay. Starting to wonder if the caricature of the developer has some form of splitting character. What? Why is this blue? Why is this blue? Don't even get me started on the blue. Oh, this would be why it's blue. But why is that leaking into there? Is that 3 dots again? It means something, I'm sure.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
And again, exact same solution, and I fall for it the exact same way.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over.
It's the only puzzle they know how to make.
I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Boing. Yes, I plan to jump everywhere. Yeah. Hi.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
I'm going to press 4. Nope, okay. You there. Did you come from up above? What was up there? There was a world stamped with whiteness. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? I'd prefer not to tell you. After all, we only just met. What? But you don't understand. We're trapped here. That puzzle is our only escape. We need to get through it. You think you'll want to get through, but trust me, you don't. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there is nothing I want more. There must be an ending. I seem to remember that from somewhere. Oh, hello. Why is there a log-burning stove? Also, why am I, looping into the same room? Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? No, I've been right here this entire time. I suggest you go and see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the black space in the middle. Why would I sit in the black space? Oh, it's plenty peaceful. It may not seem that way at first, but you'll come to think so in time, eventually. Okay, the doors just pop in, so there's no way I can cheese my way through them. Right then.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
This music is gorgeous, by the way. I'm just going to say that. Whoever made the music, well done. Alright then, that was a bit of an aesthetic change.
It's a lamppost.
We're not
Okay,
here.
I can't tell you quite why, but
Mr. Tumnus,
for some
where are
reason,
you?
Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
April 2009. The game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. It's Dark Souls! All notes you see are left by other players. And ladies and gentlemen, we shall find out what this notesy level means another time. Give the end card. Go! Thank you for watching, my little teacups. I have been the Over-Englishman, and this has been the Beginner's Guide. Please never forget to like the video, to leave a comment, to subscribe, to share this wherever you feel like it. To check out some of these beautiful people listed here. Love you all, and farewell!